Hi, I'm Ashley Griffin, and I'm coming to you from the Southern Women's Show. In this segment, we'd like to talk to you about recruiting for your Scentsy business. Yesterday, we had a couple of examples that I think I want to share with you to really show you how you can start to introduce the Scentsy business to a customer. We had two ladies that came into the booth, and they immediately went to the bars, and they just started pulling the bars off the shelf, started smelling them, and one lady said to another, hey, these are long-lasting. They're just wonderful. Then they go over to the warmers, and they start explaining to them how they use the warmer, and they were doing maybe almost my 30-second elevator speech, which is, they're not too hot to touch. You can stick your finger in the wax. It's a food-grade wax. It's safe for children and pets. So all of those things are things that a lot of our customers already know because they are really familiar with the product. Well, when you see that happening in your booth, first of all, they're selling for you, which is awesome. And so you don't want to jump in there, but you want to be there so when they're ready for some assistance. But what you want to do is you want to say, hey, have you ever thought about, opening your own Scentsy business? Because that is really where, they already have an understanding of the product, they already have a love for the product, or they wouldn't be sharing it with their friend. And many times that will open the doors for someone to really make them start thinking about how they, too, could earn extra income. So that's one scenario that helps. The other scenario is the fact that we have a Start Your Own Business sign for $99. I would encourage you, if you don't buy any other thing from Scentsy Success, you buy this sign if you're going to set up at any event. And this is really helpful, and I guess if you want to be so bold, you can use those at your home parties too.
Exactly.
So I think that would be great. And then really another way that you might introduce the business to someone is the fact that they may just come in here and they just love the scent. They say, I just love Scentsy. This is such a great product. Or maybe they just have been introduced to the product and for the first time, and they just go wild over it. You say, you work them through the process, you help them make their choices, but then you casually introduce the fact that, did you know that you could start your own Scentsy business? And they're like, well, no, I didn't know that. Well, how do you do that? Well, then you start to tell stories. People buy your story. And if you can share your story about your Scentsy experience and how you were first introduced to the business and how it has helped you and your family, then they are going to start to developing ways that might help them. Another scenario, just yesterday, I had a lady come up that has been exposed to Scentsy for over the past year. Doesn't necessarily have any connection with any Scentsy person, but is really interested in setting up her own business. It's just looking for the right time and the right person to make that connection for. I actually tried my hardest, because it is so difficult sometimes to not just want to, as we say, vomit all over your customers or your potential recruit about how wonderful the product is and how wonderful the company is. But I actually tried to listen to her and ask her questions. Well, what would you like to get out of a business? What are your goals? What do you see Scentsy can do for you? What are you looking for? And what's your time frame? Those types of leading questions to help them almost plan in their mind with your guidance how they might get started. And the next thing you know, she's asking me about the compensation plan and how that all works. Now, that's great, and it was a real hard for me not to, again, want to tell her everything about the compensation plan. But remember, it's small, bite-sized pieces. You don't want to overwhelm them. You just need to answer their questions and keep asking them about how they can come back for more information. The next thing that you need to remember is that you have got to follow up. It is so difficult and so easy to let slip through your fingers awesome recruits and people that could be awesome in your business because you have just neglected to reach out to them. You haven't picked up the phone, you haven't called them, or you haven't sent them a monthly email just letting them know, hey, I was thinking about you, how are you doing? You said you were getting married in August, how did the wedding go? Things that you can pick up from your conversation with that individual. So I want to encourage you to try to make as much of a strong connection with that person before they leave your event in your booth as possible, or that home show, because we know, or excuse me, that home party. We know that those home parties are some of the best places to recruit, not just at the events like we are today, because those are the places where you get to spend more time with that customer and really get to develop that relationship. This business is built on relationships. They may love Scentsy and love the product, and that's a really good help to you, but they need to have some accountability to you and accountability to their business. And so developing that relationship increases that desire to want to please and want to work with one another and want to be accountable. And I think that's really a major piece in trying to develop future directors.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for listening in, and hope to talk to you soon.